The sound of grinding metal, a voice choked by gurgling oil bubbling through someone's throat. Phyrexia has always been a profound enemy of life itself, led on a campaign of death by their god Yawgmoth. Years before they would invade Dominaria, there was another sent to weaken its people, a sleeper agent that would go on to lead the greatest Phyrexian host ever seen on Dominaria. This was the son of Yawgmoth, Kirik, and the terrible evil he unleashed on this plane. Greetings everyone and welcome back to the Ether Hub. I'm Simon, bringing you more Magic the Gathering lore. In this video we're continuing our journey through the macabre and dark places of MTG's story. This is 13 Nights of Magic. Hi there again, my little Hellions, and welcome back to the 13 Nights of Magic, where we celebrate the darker side of Magic the Gathering with some of the most creepy creatures and lingering legendaries found in the game. Let's learn about the more macabre lore of MTG during this truly terrifying time of year, and today we're going to learn about the last son of Yawgmoth, the Phyrexian agent turned evil warlord, Kirik. Kirik hails from a time in Magic the Gathering story where turmoil and war were constants. This is during the golden age of original Phyrexia led by Yawgmoth in his unending campaign against the plane of Dominaria. At this time, one of the few forces who could aid in fending off the god of Phyrexia was the powerful planeswalker, Urza, a wise spellcaster who at times could be a bit boneheaded in his decision-making. In truth, he was willing to risk anything in order to stop his hated rival Yawgmoth from destroying his home, and that sometimes meant making terrible sacrifices. Before the Wrathy overlay and the complete invasion of Dominaria, Phyrexia employed a military tactic that involved sending sleeper agents in undercover to help weaken the plane's defenses. Sleeper agents in MTG have a long and storied history, with their physical makeup being as human as possible, but with their wills tied to Yawgmoth. Many went on to live full lives not knowing they were working for Phyrexia. That is, until they were activated, and their long-time betrayal was revealed to all. This is how we find the character topic of today's video, Kirik, son of Yawgmoth. He started his journey on Dominaria under very suspicious conditions. He went by the name Kirik, but had almost no history to speak of. He first shows up as a lone survivor of a shipwreck, a castaway, stranded on the sandy beaches of Tolaria. As it would happen, the site was close to the esteemed Tolaria Academy, where a student taking a stroll would come across the wounded man, a young woman named Joyra. Joyra, as we know her today, is a strong, intelligent commander on Dominaria, but back in her youth, she longed very much for a companion. Someone who was strong, a survivor, decisive, someone who was mature, essentially the opposite of all of her fellow students like the prank-playing Teferi. Seeing Kirik washed up on the shore, it was like a scene out of a Hallmark movie. She was smitten almost immediately. In secret, the couple pursued a romantic relationship. Joyra didn't want to draw attention to their new status. Rather than delving deeper into this man's mysterious past, she decides to put down roots for each other, building a small home right on the beach, and even constructs a secret passage in and out of the academy for them to use to see one another. All great gestures of love to be sure, but they would soon be turned into powerful tools of betrayal. Kirik was already working to better the position of Phyrexia whenever his people chose to finally attack Dominaria directly. This young girl would be their key in establishing a foothold. In truth, he held no true affections for her. He was merely faking any emotional attachment. He was a Phyrexian after all. But still, he did prove a convincing actor. All the duties of a truly effective sleeper agent. He would use Joyra's access to the Tolarian Academy to spy on their enemy, Urza, and steal vital intel on their defensive positions. Meanwhile, Urza was busy conducting experiments with time travel. He found that silver was the best material to send backwards in time, as it didn't warp to the temporal pressure as other metals did. That's why he engineered the golem Karn, to act as his ears, eyes, and hands when traveling the time streams. At first they experimented at only short deviations of time, a few hours here, a few hours there, and on one of these tests, Karn discovered a dangerous truth. First, he only found that Joyra had taken a secret lover hidden away on the beach. Because he was not in the original time stream of this past, he could watch people without fear of them discovering him. Though when returning to the current time, Karn confronted Joyra about this man, this Carrick. Joyra begged the golem, as a friend, to not expose their love. Karn was suspicious, but agreed to keep her secret. Still, there was something that seemed off about this mysterious man, and Karn looked to investigate further, if only to ensure the safety of his friend. On another time travel test, Karn followed Carrick as he went along through Joyra's secret passage into the academy. Karn found the man sneaking into Urza's personal storage and stealing classified schematics and blueprints of the Planeswalker's lab. When he left, Karn followed him to a meeting of Phyrexian sleeper agents in the woods. Karn's suspicions proved fruitful. He had uncovered a den of Phyrexians working to sabotage Dominaria. The Silver Golem returned to the present in an attempt to warn his creator Urza of the pending attack by the sleeper agents. But he was already too late. As time cascaded forward, he found that he returned right in the middle of the very attack he watched the agents plan in the past. The Tolarian Academy was in ruins. Teachers and students had been slaughtered. Karn rushed to find Joyra, only to discover her dead, betrayed by the very man she loved, who now led a group of Phyrexian negators through their halls. Karn dispatched the negator who killed Joyra viciously, then made his way back to Urza's lab. The lab was still intact, with Urza proving strong enough to ward off the attack, but not able to save the others at the same time. Karn suggested that they send him back in time once again, so that he could stop this assault before it even began. Urza agreed, and fired up the time machine one final time. The amount of power to send Karn's entire being, his physical self, backwards in time was immense. It almost shorted out the device, but it did prove successful. Karn ventures to the past, locates Carrick, and beats him mercilessly. The golem was going to kill the sleeper agent to ensure the attack failed, but he only managed to shatter his legs before the time machine fully overloaded and pulled Karn back into present time. It was experiencing a total meltdown as it shot off powerful condensed rays of temporal disturbances throughout the lab and school. Anything these arcing bolts of time touched aged 10,000 years instantly, turning them to dust. Eventually, it erupted in a torrent of temporal cataclysm, ripping a rift in reality above the school that would cause problems later. While Urza, Karn, and many students managed to escape the school before it exploded, and with Karn altering the timeline to save Joyra's life, the only thing left of the lab, Carrick and his Phyrexian negators, had been trapped within a quick time bubble on the school grounds. Urza would return some years later to discover this broken fragment in time, but he had no clue what was going on inside, as the doom of Dominaria made great progress, building and planning an attack 100 years in the making in mere minutes. Though time seemed to move at a normal pace for Carrick and his Phyrexian allies, they were accelerated by the magic of the temporal rift, and what felt like decades to them was but just moments on Dominaria. Carrick would use this to his advantage. From inside the bubble, Carrick would call himself the Lord of Phyrexia on Dominaria, changing his name to Carrick and giving himself the title of Son of Yawgmoth, to further demonstrate his new station to the legions of Phyrexians he was crafting within the stasis. He constructed countless negators along with brand new monstrosities the likes of which Dominaria had never seen before. A new grand Phyrexian tower, an imposing citadel and terrifying fortress, seemingly rose out of nowhere as Carrick planned every possible way to attack the academy and bring low Urza and his powerful allies. Carrick would eventually lead the charge out of the safety of their distorted time, attacking those who were just now rebuilding the school from the first attack that failed. The Phyrexian forces were too much to withstand. Even the powerful mage Baron was beaten back. He quickly sent word to Urza that they required aid, and aid they would get. Urza was out securing his own allies, though in a less than traditional way. He would work through personal differences with the elemental avatar of Yavimaya, Multani, and fight alongside them inside the fast time chasm. Though Multani rightfully saw Urza as someone who couldn't be trusted, the Avatar saw firsthand the destructive power of the Phyrexians and what they had planned to unleash on Dominaria. Though Carrick had planned any number of contingencies in this attack, he didn't plan on facing an Urza supercharged with natural magics of an Avatar. The Phyrexian agent at first was able to incapacitate Urza, all according to his plan, but Multani's magic coursed through Urza's veins, freeing him and giving him the strength he needed to slay the Phyrexian sleeper agent. Multani then sent his elementals into the Fragment of Time to dismantle the remaining Phyrexian forces. Karrick styled himself as the son of Yawgmoth, the second coming of their god and a leader among the Phyrexians. Though great lengths of time passed for him in his temporal prison, giving him the edge over his enemies, he still failed to take down Urza, proving just how short-sighted the sleeper agent was, and how arrogant he grew over the countless years he spent as lord of his own fictional kingdom. With the self-proclaimed son of Yawgmoth defeated, Dominaria goes on to prepare for when the true god of Phyrexia would inevitably arrive. Karrick, despite being one of the most successful sleeper agents in Phyrexian history, died just like any other of their kind. And there you go, my little panicking planeswalkers, another night of spooky stories as we go through the 13 Nights of Magic. Please let me know how you're enjoying the frightening content in the comment section below. Please support our haunting work by leaving this video a like, sharing it with friends, and becoming a subscriber. It's the best way to help us continue to spread grief across the multiverse. And until the next foreboding evening, friends, see ya!